Imagine planting a tree today, not for shade tomorrow, but for the forest your children will walk through decades from now. That's how wealth grows. That's the essence of long-term investing, and in today's world, one of the smartest ways to plant those financial seeds is through ETF. When most people first think about investing, their instinct is to find the one big winner, that golden stock that will skyrocket and make them rich overnight. But history shows us something very different. Even the greatest companies can stumble, industries can collapse, and once powerful names can fade into irrelevance. That's where ETFs stand apart. They take the complexity of the financial world and transform it into simplicity. With a single purchase, you don't just own one company. You own a portfolio of dozens, hundreds, or sometimes thousands of them. It's like walking into an orchard, and instead of betting all your hopes on one apple tree, you're planting seeds across an entire forest. Some trees will grow tall, some will stay small, and others may wither, but the forest as a whole thrives. This built-in diversification is the ultimate safety net for long-term investors. You don't have to chase the next Tesla, Amazon, or Apple. Instead, you capture the collective growth of all companies that drive progress forward. And the beauty of it is, you do so without the overwhelming complexity of handpicking individual stocks, analyzing their financial statements, or predicting the unpredictable future. The ETF wraps that challenge into one instrument, giving ordinary investors access to professional-grade diversification with just a click. Think of diversification as building a fortress around your wealth. In battle, you don't want all your defenses concentrated in one corner of the castle. If that corner falls, the entire fortress collapses. But if your defenses are spread across all sides, you can withstand attacks from any direction. Markets work the same way. Some sectors will suffer when economic conditions shift. Oil may decline while renewable energy rises. Tech might experience turbulence while healthcare booms. If you placed all your bets on just one sector, one company, or one story, your financial future could crumble with it. But by holding an ETF, you spread your defenses wide. When one part of the market weakens, another strengthens, balancing the weight of your portfolio and keeping it standing strong. This isn't just about avoiding losses, it's about positioning yourself for consistent, long-term growth. Because while single stocks can shoot to the moon, they can also crash into the ground. ETFs don't chase lottery tickets. They build wealth brick by brick, compounding stability and opportunity over decades. It's the kind of quiet strength that doesn't make headlines but builds legacies. The most powerful part is that you don't need to be a Wall Street genius to achieve this. With a fraction of the research and effort required for individual stock picking, anyone can tap into the wisdom of diversification and allow it to quietly work its magic in the background. Now, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Entire economies rise and fall in cycles, but the global trend has always pointed upward over time. When you invest in a diversified ETF, you're not betting on any single outcome. You're betting on human progress itself. You're aligning your wealth with the creativity, resilience, and innovation of millions of people across industries and nations. When one country stumbles, another advances. When one sector slows down, another speeds up. The ETF is like a vast net cast into the ocean of opportunity, catching not just one fish, but a wide variety, ensuring that even if one slips away, the catch remains plentiful. And here's the real genius. It makes investing simple. You don't need to track daily stock charts, obsess over quarterly earnings, or panic every time a headline screams market crash. By holding a diversified ETF, you transform chaos into order. You embrace the long game. Over 10, 20, or 30 years, that steady, broad-based exposure to the market becomes one of the most reliable engines of wealth creation ever discovered. It's not glamorous, it's not flashy, but it's unstoppable. Diversification through ETF is the art of building prosperity without needing to predict the unpredictable, and that is what makes it one of the most powerful financial tools of our time. The world doesn't stand still. Entire industries are born, evolve, and sometimes vanish in the blink of an eye. What seemed impossible yesterday becomes reality tomorrow. And the great truth about investing is this: wealth follows innovation. The companies and industries shaping the future are where growth lives, and ETF give us the chance to ride those waves without trying to predict the next single superstar. Consider technology, once just about computers, now the beating heart of every aspect of life. Artificial intelligence, cloud computing, cybersecurity, semiconductors. These aren't just buzzwords, they are the infrastructure of tomorrow's society. When you buy into an ETF focused on technology, you're not gambling on which one company will dominate. You're investing in the entire revolution. The same applies to healthcare, where biotech firms are unlocking cures and genetic therapies that would have been dismissed as science fiction a decade ago. An ETF that tracks that sector allows you to become part of humanity's fight against disease and its relentless march toward longer, healthier lives. This is the extraordinary advantage ETF bring. They let you tap into megatrends shaping humanity's destiny without demanding that you pick the exact horse to bet on. You don't need to know which single company will create the next breakthrough drug or the next revolutionary chip. You simply invest in the field itself, and history does the heavy lifting. But the story doesn't stop with technology and healthcare. One of the most explosive growth opportunities of the next century lies in clean energy and sustainability. The transition away from fossil fuels isn't optional, it's inevitable. Nations, corporations, and communities worldwide are pouring billions into renewable energy, electric vehicles, battery storage, and green infrastructure. Imagine an ETF that holds the leaders in solar energy, wind power, EV technology, and energy storage. With a single purchase, you're fueling the planet's march towards sustainability while also positioning your portfolio to grow alongside it. This isn't just ethical investing, it's smart investing, because demand for clean solutions isn't going away. The same is true for fintech, e-commerce, and digital connectivity. A generation ago, people were skeptical of online shopping. Today, it dominates global retail, and tomorrow, sectors like blockchain, decentralized finance, and space technology may occupy the same place. ETF tracking these niches allow you to plant seeds in the soil of innovation today, knowing some of them will grow into the towering giants of tomorrow. Even if not all succeed, the winners will more than compensate, pulling your portfolio upward with them. That's the beauty of growth, sector ETFs. They let you invest in revolutions rather than roll the dice on individual players. When you step back and see the bigger picture, the strategy becomes clear. Growth sectors are not just about money, they are about aligning yourself with the direction humanity is heading. Every major advancement in history, from the steam engine to the internet, has created enormous wealth for those who recognized its potential early. Today's growth sectors are no different. By investing through ETF, you're stepping onto the train tracks of progress before the train thunders through. You're saying yes to being part of the story of innovation, not as a passive observer, but as a beneficiary of its success. And unlike speculating on individual stocks, where failure is just as likely as success, growth-focused ETFs spread your exposure across dozens or hundreds of companies working in the same field. That's like buying a ticket not just on one rocket, but on the entire fleet heading into space. Some may fail, some may explode, but others will reach orbit, and the winners will carry you higher than you imagined. This is the secret of harnessing growth through ETF. It's not about predicting the future with precision. It's about aligning yourself with it. The world is shifting, industries are being rewritten, and the wealth of the next generation will belong to those who plant their stakes in the sectors driving that transformation forward. If there is one force in finance that borders on magic, it's compounding. On the surface, it looks simple. You earn a return, and then that return itself begins to earn returns. But hidden within that simplicity lies an unstoppable engine of wealth creation. Consider this: if you invest a single dollar and double it every year, by year 20, it grows into more than 1 million. That's the exponential power of compounding, and yet most people underestimate it because the early years feel slow, almost boring. The first few steps are modest, but then the curve bends upward and momentum takes over. When you invest in ETF for the long term, you are giving compounding the gift of time, and time is what turns ordinary savings into extraordinary fortune. Every dividend reinvested, every small gain left untouched, every passing year where your money stays in the market, it all adds fuel to the compounding fire. That's why the most successful investors are not those who jump in and out of trades chasing short-term profits. It's those who buy, hold, and allow compounding to quietly multiply their wealth in the background. ETF make this process effortless because they are designed for steady, long-term exposure to the market. With reinvested dividends and growth built into the structure, they become compounding machines. You don't need to lift a finger. You just need to stay invested and let time do what it does best. But here's the catch. Compounding only works if you respect it. Break the chain, and you lose its power. Imagine planting a young tree and then yanking it out of the soil every few months because you're impatient to see growth. That tree will never flourish. The same is true of your investments. Too many people sabotage themselves by reacting to fear in the markets, selling at the first sign of volatility, or chasing quick wins in trending stocks. Every time they do, they reset the compounding clock back to zero. The wealth they could have built is left unrealized. ETFs, however, are built for endurance. They're not meant to be traded like lottery tickets. They're meant to be held like treasures. Their broad diversification and steady exposure to growth sectors make them resilient through market cycles. Yes, the road will have bumps, recessions, corrections, even crashes. But history has shown that markets recover and climb higher over time. Those who stay the course, who continue to invest through the storms, are the ones who harness compounding to its full potential. The lesson is simple. Let your investments breathe, let them grow, and resist the temptation to interrupt the process. With ETF as your vehicle, the journey is smoother, and the compounding curve becomes your greatest ally. Now, picture the long horizon. 10 years of compounding is impressive, but 30 years is transformative. This is where ordinary investors separate themselves from the extraordinary. A modest monthly contribution to an ETF, left untouched over decades, can balloon into life, changing wealth, not because of luck, but because of mathematics. That's why compounding is often called the eighth wonder of the world. It transforms consistency into greatness. The longer you allow it to work, the more dramatic its effect becomes, and this isn't just about numbers in a brokerage account, it's about what those numbers represent: financial independence, security for your family, freedom to pursue passions without fear of money, the power to retire early, give back to causes you believe in, and build a legacy that outlives you. Compounding through ETF is more than a financial strategy. It's a philosophy of patience, discipline, and vision. You are not simply investing dollars, you are investing time itself, turning every passing year into an ally. And as time marches forward, the small seeds you planted begin to grow into a forest of abundance. That is the quiet, unstoppable, life-changing force of long-term compounding. So when we talk about ETF, we're not just talking about another investment product. We're talking about a tool that gives ordinary people access to extraordinary opportunities. A way to diversify without complexity, a gateway to the industries rewriting the future, a vehicle that allows compounding to do the heavy lifting while we focus on living our lives. The choice before us is simple: chase the noise of the moment or plant seeds for the decades ahead. Short-term trends come and go, headlines flare up and fade, but long-term growth compounds quietly, relentlessly, and without apology. ETF are not about luck, they are about strategy, not about gambling, but about building. And the investors who embrace that philosophy will not just grow their wealth, they will create the kind of stability, freedom, and legacy that outlasts them. The future belongs to those who prepare for it. ETF are one of the most powerful ways to prepare steadily, intelligently, and with vision. The sooner you begin, the sooner compounding begins. And once it does, the future stops being something to fear and becomes something to look forward to. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss an update.